Okay, so quick story time. When it comes to detaching from the matrix, detaching from this money grasp that the government says you gotta consume, 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 detaching from the fear of it, and traveling the world. So all these things summed up. This has to do with my life in the last 2 years. So about 2 years ago, I was in San Diego, and I decided that I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm not happy with my life. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. This is so dumb. Like I'm so unhappy. I decided that I was just gonna cut it all out. And what I did was I was looking up online at these ideas of what I would want to do, but who knows? And then I see something in Texas, and it says like dance Zumba instructor for weight loss for kids, and I was like, that's crazy. So I decided that that would sound so great. I decided to hit him up, and I didn't really hear back from him. So what it sparked me to do it is I started writing down these goals and ideas of what I would ideally like to see in my life if money was not an issue, if money was not a thing, if money had no grasp, what would I do? And I tell you, do the same thing, see what comes up, because I was really surprised honestly of what did come up. I didn't really have much of a history in any of these things, but it's something that I was feeling passionate about. So I remember writing this down, and all of a sudden, I instantly huge breakup. My car, the head gasket blew up. Then I quit my job. I just was losing it. I was like, I'm moving out of this place. It's wild. And then it was like the next day, Texas was like, hey, you know what? You can come out here. The next 36 hours, we'll take you. So after all of that, I just said, screw it all. I took a huge leap of faith and decided to really, really trust that, you know what, we are awake, this is consciousness, everything will be okay if we trust that it's okay and put it out there. You get what you get, or you get what you give, so I was sure this would be fine. I went for it. By the time I get by the Greyhound thing, I'm in Texas and I have less than $100 in my bank account, and I start working out there, and it's really great. It was nice. Something felt really off though, and I knew that. I just kept going with it because it was fun. It was really fun working with kids. It was really fun running around and feeling free, and it was 3 weeks into it, and there was a conflict of interest, and it had to do with LGBT and a something else kind of sparked into it, and they were like, "Yo, you gotta go." I was like, "What?" They're like, "And we can't pay you." So I was like, "No way, this is crazy." And somebody there was like, I'll be honest with you. They're like, "Okay, well, there's the river just over there. Here." So I go and smoke a joint at this river, and I remember the Texas San Antonio River's right there, and I was sitting there under these giant trees, and um, just in disbelief. How could this have drawn me wrong? How I went for it. I've been so positive in faith, and I'm sitting there just thinking this is the end of the world, and um, I don't know how it kind of happened. I just remember there's this giant tarantula walking across, and I was like, "That's so beautiful," of course, but thinking if I'm perceiving this little creature as something that's a beautiful thing, and other people would be so terrified of it, I can apply that to anything else I want. So I kind of got up and pep talking myself and was like, the worst thing that would happen is I would be stuck doing the same thing here. I would go and leave San Antonio, this or where I was, and go in San Antonio and work a 9 to 5, we'll say, until I bring up the funds to go on to the next thing, which is just a little bit different of what it would be if I was still in San Diego, right? So I decided this was a great thing, and there was nothing to fear because I'm in the same beginning. Just I went for it, and I already have all this adrenaline from going for it, and I decided, what, everything's gonna be fine. So I ended up a couple hours later. I ended up walking back over, and I was getting ready to pack up my stuff, and the assistant director, great lady, um, comes over to me and sits me down. Side note, when we go for these things and we know that we are in the right, we know that we are in alignment, we know that we are going for what's good and beneficial for ourselves, crazy things happen that seems like it'd be like a fairy tale or movie, right? So she comes up and says, I'm really sorry for what is going on. I don't believe this is fair. I don't believe this is right. You know, let me help you out. I will buy you a plane ticket in the United States wherever you want to go. Like that. So huge. So I remember going on my phone and I don't even have phone plan. I just remember going on my phone, this Wi-Fi area, and I was like, crap, I don't really know anybody in San Diego. I don't really know anybody around here. Let me think. I hit up my friend, and he said, well, I'm about to start a Girl Scout camp for the summer. You need to get here in like the next couple of days, but I could probably get you a job. We'll see. So I went for it. So I asked her, I said, you know, would you be willing to fly me to Seattle? Sure enough, she says, absolutely. So, pause. I went for this risk for something that I thought was going to be the correct thing because, you know, this is ideal. You know, I wrote down everything that I wanted to do. I went for it. It went for a little bit of a spin, but not everything is necessarily exactly how we intend. So it's not that Texas didn't go right. Texas went perfect. Everything went perfectly. Though it just chose me to go into a different direction. And, you know, I was given opportunities with all kinds of help, you know, and it was a great, great experience in Texas. So resume, I go fly over to Washington. Sure enough, you know, I end up like sleeping a night or two in the airport. And again, I'm writing, you know, kind of journaling what in the world is going on. So I'm there, get the job. I spend my summer on the Hood Canal. It's beautiful. It's amazing. The whole time I'm exercising, meditating, you know, trying different things with diets and really feeling life. So get myself in the right mindset. I decide, okay, I'm going to go down the coast. You know, when it's off that season of Girl Scouts, you know, I'll go back down. And one of the things I had written before was that I like cooking. So I didn't want to keep slaving away. And what I decided to see is I will go down and I will cook. And I can do that for, like, it ended up being maybe 25 hours a week or something like that. And I would just cut out all these unnecessary things in my life that are just consumed that I really don't need. You know, so I cut out a lot, especially going out. It's just, there's so much to really take a look at and just be like, this is not necessary. So I went back down. I started working at that and decided that this job, though I did like it. It wasn't a bad thing. I was going to see that as a second job. You know, that's my side job kind of thing. And the rest of it was all self-work. And I ended up going back up to Washington in May of last year, back to the summer job as well. And felt like the whole 2017 I was manifesting world traveling because I loved the traveling thing. It was great. And that person that flew me out to Seattle, he just went through a big breakup and he said, I'm done with it. I'm done with America. I want to leave. So he said, would you go with me? And I said, oh, yeah, you know, that's perfect. Yeah, let's go. So I had no idea where he wanted to go. I had no idea what was about to happen. But again, I just trusted. I had faith. I was optimistic about it, and I stayed to the fact that as long as I'm doing what I feel is the best to my highest self, everything is going to be fine. Again, we leave Girl Scouts. I ended up having to pay for a lot of things, and I was like, crap. He wants to go to Europe in a couple months. I don't have any money. It's gonna be fine. So what are things that I know how to do? Well, I know how to barter. I know how to work with people. So I didn't ever pay rent. I ended up, you know, watching kids and things like that. I like to sell things, you know, when I don't feel forced to it and I believe in it and I have fun with it. So I worked at a Halloween store, and you know, it was great. I liked managing the place. It was fine. So I built up the money. And it's this ongoing pattern of finding things that I like and I'm willing to do. I like doing art. I was selling art. I was tattooing. It was things that nothing had to do with this money, though I knew that I had to get a grind on because, it does cost a certain amount to fly somewhere, to get visas and things. So at one point he said, I have a friend that works at, or he did a TEFL course in Prague. I do want to go there. One, I didn't even know where Prague was. I thought I did, and I was like, oh, I think that's Czech Republic. I look it up. Not Czech Republic's not even know. I didn't even know where it was. But of course, I just went for it. My point was that I've been manifesting, traveling. I love being on the edge and not knowing what's next, which is perfect. So we went for it, and now I'm out here. And lately, I've been feeling like, well, I kind of want to travel again, And so I'm putting that out there, and it turns out a few factors came up to where I'm leaving and going again. But it's kind of one of those things that I remember it was a rapper actually that said it, that you give this girl all this attention and you really like her and you're trying to give her notes and all this candy and stuff and you're like obsessed with her, and it's once you're like, nah, you know what, I'm gonna turn my back, I'm not even gonna pay attention to her, is when she's coming back to you, right? So once I detached from the hold of money, and instead I supplemented that with positivity, with some faith, with some really what my interest was, and detached from, I don't need to consume these things. I don't need this product. I don't need that product. I don't need to eat out. I don't need this. It's just these silly things that are so drilled in that you got to have these things. And I just said no more. Like this, it's so silly to look at it. And found my priorities, found what I wanted to do, and it's ever changing. Like it's constantly changing. Don't get me wrong. It's intricate, of course, but to say that you can't, to say that you need to because of money, to say that you have this kind of hole because of money, like it's much different. And I'm not the only one. I know people who are mothers, who have kids, who have a single mothers. It's we can't get in ourselves ways. So I hope this somehow inspires you and you go for it. Again, happy adventures. Stay up.